Howdy. Today we're going to talk about pre-emergence. We're going to talk about why they fail. We're going to give you some tips about how to apply them, when not to apply them. We're going to talk about Poa Annua, or Poa Annua. This is that time of year we start to see it, especially even if you've put down one pre-emergent treatment, you can often have Poa Annua break through that. We'll talk about that. We'll cover a bunch of different stuff, so hold on. Hey guys, in the description below, I'm going to link to all the products that I'm talking about, hopefully, and if I forget to link to one of them, let me know. I'm going to give you a little tip, and I always forget this. If you have a specific weed you're trying to kill, I'm going to put a link to a really cool way to find out. And what you do is, the link will take you over to the Do My Own pesticide control company. But there's a section in there where commonly asked questions have already been answered. And so I'll link to that. And when you get there in the search bar, what I want you to put is just basically Bermuda crabgrass or Bermuda henbit, Bermuda clover, zoysia, whatever it is. Put the name of your grass and the weed, and what will happen is it'll propagate already answered questions. And when you click on it, the experts over there have already answered and shown you what product will work well for that. It's a really cool way. It's so simple. So in the description below, I'll link to our website. I'll build a page and you'll see a link, and I'll probably put Do My Own expert advice. I'll put a link up on that webpage and it'll take you right over there. It's a cool way to look for it. So if you're looking to kill a specific weed or want to know if something's safe or whatever, go there and ask that question. Next, don't forget we cover a lot of this in the lawn guides. The lawn guides are up, they're free. There is no email to sign up. There's no app to use. They're just up all the time. So when you go to freelawncareguide.com, at the top of the page, it'll tell you that that's the site for cool season grass. And then there's also a link to the Bermuda website and the zoysia website. All your questions are answered there. There's calendars, everything. So go over there, make sure you get it, save it on your phone as a favorite so you can pull it up anytime you want. Okay, let's cover a couple quick rules that I always talk about. I can't believe that sun shines out. It absolutely poured last night. I mean, we got our first heavy rainfall, probably about a good 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches of rain last night. Thank goodness. But that's a good subject to talk about. One of the reasons why pre-emergent treatments fail is because people have clay soils. They have a heavy rainfall, and there's something inside of clay soils. There's silt and silicates, and what ends up happening when they get wet, they actually act like a platelet almost, and they lock up. And the infiltration rates on those soils is very low. So once it hits a saturation point, water really can't go into it. And so that's when you get runoff, and that's when you get runoff of fertilizers and you get poor pre-emergent treatments. So rule number one is always put pre-emergence down on dry soils. So you want to have at least 2 days where you've had no rain, hopefully sunshine, doesn't have to be warm, but that upper layer of soil has to be dry. Do not go out right after a rainfall and apply this when you have another rain coming in a day or two. You really what you have to do is you have to pull out your phone and watch your 10-day forecast. Wait for it, you see no rain for 2 or 3 days, let it dry out, and then put down your pre-emergent. Rule number 2, understand how pre-emergents work. Pre-emergents do not stop seeds from germinating. You got that? Well, that's a myth. A lot of people think that pre-emergents stop a seed from germinating. You actually want your seeds to germinate. When a seed germinates, it starts to grow what? It starts to grow a root. Well, what pre-emergents do is they inhibit cell replication or new cell growth, so the roots can't grow, so the seed dies. If your seed doesn't germinate, it can sit there for months and then germinate later. So actually, seed germination is not your goal. Preventing that is not your goal. What you want to do is you want to kill the plant as soon as it germinates. Next, if you already have weeds, so let's say you're starting to see a little bit of Poa Annua, it's pre-emergent typically will not kill something that is already growing. So that's an important note. So let me explain what I'm going to do on my lawn, and then you guys can do whatever. Now we put down, almost 2 months ago, we put down our granular pre-emergent. Granular pre-emergents do a pretty good job, but they last longer. Coverage-wise, liquids are probably a little bit better for overall coverage, but the granular lasts longer. So that's why we put the granular down first. The next thing I do is I come out with a liquid pre-emergent. Now, the one that I use which is Dimension, okay? So I'm going to put a link to this. Now, unfortunately, they sell it in a half-gallon size, and it's not cheap, but it's going to last you for years. The basic rule of thumb, you have to read the label. I encourage that. Read your label to figure out your application rate. But on average, it's about half an ounce per acre. So if the bottle is 64 ounces, that's going to last you a couple years. So I know it's like $150 for the bottle, but it's going to last you for years. Just keep it up on the shelf and just use it, because we're going to use it in the spring as well too. So I will come out and I will use Dimension and I will spray it on the lawn. The next thing I want you to do, I really recommend, for a lot of us, we have brown lawns. Of course, the putting green back here is dwarf. It's a cool season, so it's green, but my Bermuda is solid brown right now. Come out, get yourself green dye, and put a lot of green dye. Normally you would only put, a couple tablespoons. I'm gonna put like a half a cup to a full cup, almost. I'm gonna get it really strong, because I wanna be able to see, as I go along and spray, I wanna be able to see the areas that I'm actually treated. That's another reason why some of these products won't work well, is because your application is not consistent. You're not getting all your areas. That happens all the time. So use a dye in there and put it on pretty heavy. Next, can I combine a pre-emergent with a weed killer? Absolutely. As long as the label doesn't prevent you from mixing other things inside of it, you can do it. Now, this year, I'm probably just going to use Certainty, because I just want to make sure any of my Poa Annua that is possibly already germinating right now, I want to make sure that I kill it. I have a little bit going on. Certainty is a little bit of a weird product. This one bottle basically covers an acre. And so there's a little scoop inside. Again, read the label, but basically that little teeny scoop right there, that little teeny, not the big side, but the little side, for every 1,000 square feet, you put one of those little scoops. That's a rough rule of thumb. Again, read the label for your zone and for your application rates. So if I have 17,000 square feet, I'm going to put 17 of these little scoops inside my mix. How am I going to apply it? I'm going to take my tea pitcher. I will mix it up in the tea pitcher. What I will do is I will use the hose end spray bottles. This one's been sitting outside. I'll use a hose end spray bottle. I'll put it inside here, and then we'll come out. I have to turn my irrigation, turn my hoses back on, and I'll come out here and I will do a nice, good treatment. Now, here's one recommendation I'll make for you. If you're used to using these, increase the amount of mixture that you're going to make and slow down your spraying. So let me give you an example. If I have this bottle and at my normal walk and spray rate, let's say I can cover 2,000 square feet with this bottle. What I want you to do is I want you to slow that down and maybe only have it cover 1,500 square feet. Why is that? It's because with pre-emergents, they actually work really well in the soil. That's where you want them. So you just don't want it just sitting on top of the grass. So you don't want to go by and just spray it and have it sit on top of the grass. At some point that needs to get into the soil. So that's why I actually like to increase the amount of bottles for my coverage. So I'll mix it up in the tea pitcher. I'll put my dye in. I'll put my Certainty. I'll put my Dimension in there. And pretty much, and if I want to add some surfactant, I can add a little bit of surfactant as well too. We're going to go by here and spray. That's what I'm doing for my second pre-emergent treatment. Remember, Poa Annua, as we say in Georgia, Poa Annua is a cool season weed, and once your lawn starts to go dormant, that's when you're going to start to see it. It'll die off. Some people say, well, Poa Annua will die off in the spring. Well, I've seen huge infestations of Poa Annuas on lawns. So you just got to be careful. I like to treat for it. Now, next, I'm going out to the farmhouse tomorrow, and what we're going to do out there, now we have a cool season. We have some mixed fescue and we have winter rye. Ryan and I are going to go out there tomorrow, and we're going to apply Humichar, which is biochar and a little bit of humic acid mixed in. We're going to apply that because we're doing it once a month. We're putting a whole bag out back to get that soil, to get the carbon levels bumped up in that soil. We're going to put down some PGF Complete. Yes, I'm fertilizing in the winter because it's a cool season, winter rye. And we're going to cut it. We're going to do those three things tomorrow. And then I have to wait for this lawn to dry out. So I've got to wait for about 2 days. So I will actually put the application on video for you guys. But I just want to do a quick note, and in the calendars on the lawn guides and in the lawn guides, we cover this. We do this split pre-emergent treatment. We come out at the normal time and put down a granular, but then about 6 or 8 weeks later, we come out with a spray treatment and do this. And let me tell you what, it'll make your life a whole lot easier. Just a quick video on what I'm doing. Hit subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Dye.